Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Shares and Builders check-in for it's October 24th, 2018. So welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about two things. One, we're going to talk about the newly reformulated balanced deodorant and all of the good stuff about it, the stuff that's in it, and why you want to be using natural deodorant. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is we're going to be talking about inviting people. I guess it's not, it's sort of inviting people, but more like the awkward moment when you're just starting your business and you want to tell people that you're like doing this now. Like, what do you say? And how do you segue that into a couple of things? Asking them to maybe host a class or do a one-on-one or, set up a wholesale account, even any of those things. What's how do you bridge the awkward gap between, hey, I'm starting something new and I need to tell all my people that I'm starting something new. So that's the business stuff we're going to be talking about. So Mom's going to start with talking about the balanced deodorant. Mom. So, I guess I'm the only one who calls her Mom in this situation. Gwen is going to start.
It would never work for you to call me Gwen. It would never happen.
Yeah, that would just be weird.
Your friends all still call me Mrs. Duffy. So there's no way you're going to switch over and start calling me by my
Definitely not.
So balanced deodorant. I love the smell of balance. So we were very excited when this came up at convention because I've never ever once bought the doTERRA deodorant before because I just heard really bad things about it from Sarah and from other people that it just wasn't a great product. So this was the #1 requested reformulation from all doTERRA wellness advocates, and so doTERRA was listening. But there's some obstacles they had to overcome because they wanted to make it be a really great product instead of just coming up with another natural deodorant. Because if you've used natural deodorants, you know that there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of ones that don't work. There's a lot of ones that just smell bad, or they just plain old don't work, or they're too goopy or something like that. So this is a perfect product. It's first of all, it smells like balance. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't use natural deodorants tend to be a little bit drier. That's just the texture because they don't have all the chemicals in them and talc and things like that cause dryness. Or make the deodorant be a little more, smooth going on. But it's really nice. Now, someone gave me a tip of saying that if it starts to get to a point where it starts to feel a little bit dry, put a couple drops of balance oil on it, and it kind of rejuvenates the softness of it. Plus, you're adding some more balance to it, which isn't a bad thing. So why deodorant? I mean, why do we even care about natural deodorants? And so I wanted to. I have this very cool sheet from whenever you go to convention, you get their product sheets of all their new products. So I've got some new things. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's in this first, and then I'm going to tell you why it's good. So first of all, it's a natural deodorant that as I said, we have balance in there. It also has baking soda, which actively protects against odor. Arrowroot absorbs moisture for long-lasting freshness, and then you've got the balance in there. The oils that are in here in balance are spruce, hoe wood, laurel leaf, frankincense, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus. It has no aluminum, it has no paraben, it has no phthalate, and it's also talc-free. I don't know what phthalate is, but it's bad. I know it's bad. So I'm going to tell you what I did. And it also has baking soda, which helps reduce odors. That's what's in it. So it's everything that you can understand and no chemicals. Now, why does it matter? So I did some looking, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. You guys can go and take a look on the internet if you want more information than what I'm giving you. But there's 7 main toxins that we're finding in deodorant. Actually, I found 8 because one wasn't on this list. The first one is aluminum. And I actually brought down, I have my old secret. This is actually in my drawer because I used to buy this at Costco. You buy a 5-pack for, I don't even know how much it was. So I had this one lurking around. Even though I've been making my own deodorant for about a year, I still had this in there. So I thought, let me see what's in this. And the #1 ingredient is aluminum, which is bad, okay? #1 ingredient. Now, let me tell you why it's bad.
So it's #1? I mean, I'm not doubting you. I just had no idea it was that bad.
It's not #1. Wait, where did I see? Yeah, it's the active ingredient. The active ingredient in secret is aluminum.
Because it's like amongst the natural deodorant world, like that's the one that people freak about. You'd think that Secret would be trying to like cover it up or something.
Right. But the thing is that even when I smell this now, like it smells so chemically, because just because I haven't been using this, I've been making my own deodorant for a while now. So the smell of it, I used to love Secret deodorant smell. I don't even like the smell of it anymore. But why you don't want aluminum? Aluminum is an ingredient it helps make the deodorants be antiperspirant. So it helps them be more drying, but it actually clogs your pores in order to do that. Our bodies are made to sweat. Like, we're supposed to perspire. We're not supposed to stink, maybe. I mean, well, I guess we are supposed to stink, but that's diet related, a lot of it. But so aluminum prevents you from sweating. So it's not allowing the body's natural process to go on. And so it's a bad thing. It's also been linked to Alzheimer's. It interferes with estrogen levels, which is one of the big reasons why aluminum is so bad for women, because we're putting it under our armpits, right in our breast area, where we have the greatest susceptibility of cancers. And so if your body can't process estrogen properly, that's when we end up with issues of breast cancer. I'm only saying that here because I know nobody else is going to hear this, but that's the big danger in aluminum. It has parabens in it, regular deodorant, and that's a chemical that's used as a preservative. But it's also, it says in this article, it's also probably one of the most harmful additives of all. That some parabens actually trick your body into thinking that they're estrogen. And so it's just disrupting the hormone balancing in your body. And we have so many issues right now with women and hormones, that the chemicals, in fact, I heard something in one of the classes that we teach, someone said that the average woman puts 82 chemicals on her body before she even leaves the house in the morning. So much of that is disrupting the levels of our estrogen. And it just ends up causing us trouble all the way down the road, because our whole endocrine system, there's so many things in our body systems that require our hormone levels to be in balance. So it's just a really, really important thing. Whatever this phthalates or phthalates, they make fragrance last. Is that how you say it, Sarah? Phthalates? Phthalates.
I don't know.
Either way. Anyway,
but you're right. It's bad.
It's bad because it makes fragrant last, but it also causes our cells to mutate, and it can lead to birth defects. There's some, and you can Google this. Like, I just Googled, all kinds of stuff came up. So there's lots and lots of information if you want to go and check out even more information on that. But it's bad, okay? The stuff that they're putting in there to make the fragrance last all day long. And the next thing is triclosan, which the FDA says is a pesticide. So that means there's pesticides in your deodorant. Like, that just can't be good.
Not our deodorant.
Not our deodorant, in the traditional deodorant.
Non-natural deodorant.
There's TEA and DEA, which are chemicals that seep into your skin and they affect your liver and your kidneys. Just is nothing good about that stuff. And then artificial colors. So then they put artificial colors and bleaches that cause a lot of skin reactions. In fact, right now, my husband, he was using Degree, and he has such a rash under his armpits. Every time he puts it on, he gets a rash. So he's finally switched over to the Balance. And one of the things I like about the Balance is it can be for men or women. The scent is not so strong that it's a feminine or a masculine scent. It's just a clean, grounding, earthy, but has a little bit of like a sweeter scent to it. So it's something that's good for men and women. The other thing that is in a lot of traditional deodorants is talc. And talc, I thought talc, like we used to use talc on babies, but talc has been linked to ovarian cancer. And what they're saying, and the studies that I read from the American Cancer Society say that you just shouldn't put the talc on your genital area. And I'm like, okay, but if I put it under my armpits, it's going into my lymph system, it's going into my circulatory system. I still don't think I want that on my body. Okay, so talc is a really bad thing. And the other thing about deodorants is that we're spraying them under our arms in that breast area. It's where, let's see, what does it say? It says deodorants comprise estrogenic compounds, and they have the same abilities as that of the body's host hormone estrogen. So estrogen promotes growth of the breast tissue, and a high growth of breast tissue, more than what's required, can pave the way to cancer. So it's just causing your body to not function in a natural way. So by switching over to this deodorant, first of all, it smells great. I don't have like an over-perspiration issue, so I don't have any issues at all with using this deodorant, but the smell of it lasts all day long. Sarah and I were at a convention, and she made me smell her armpits halfway through the day when we had gotten this. So I hated doing it, but it still was working. So this is a great product. And the price of this is, the wholesale price is $8.75. Now, if you're at 30% level like me, I'm going to get 30% back towards free product. So to me, it's worth it. It's a no-brainer. So that's about it.
And that's one of the things that I've been trying to help people who are on LRP to find things that they're using each month, so that if they, don't want to commit to a $50 LRP every month or $100 LRP every month, if there's a couple consumable products that are good products that they're using, then they can just get that, so every other month they get their deodorant or their toothpaste. If they would alternate between deodorant and toothpaste, like you're probably using that within the span of 2 months. And so that always gives them something to have on their LRP that's small, and they can increase that when they want to and decrease it, but it makes it, we need to, I think, be good about helping people to see how they can work the LRP system. You don't always have to order $50 a month, if you don't want to. You don't always have to, you don't have to, your customers don't have to make that commitment. So we can help them by saying, look, if you're buying deodorant every other month or so, like every 2 months, then if you get it from doTERRA, they're going to give you 10% back, all the way up to 30% back in points. And, Target's not doing that. Costco's not doing that. And so that's something that I've been working hard to do, is to help people to use some of the everyday things that they're going to the store and buying. If they get them on their LRP, they're getting a better quality product, and they're getting the rewards points back. Which is huge. And then they can use those for whatever they want. So, yeah.
But as women, this is one of the best things we can do. The easiest changes we can make. Right. It's going to have a really big impact on our physical body. So I think it's just it's a no-brainer to me.
Especially because it's awesome.
Yeah, and it smells awesome, right? So that's our product today. That's all we're talking about today is that. I'm going to post some links to these studies that I found, or the articles that I found, if you want to look it up yourself. And maybe somebody can tell me how to say that word.
Phthalate?
Phthalate.
I don't know. You know what? There's Google, pronounce. It's not Google pronounce. But if you type it into Google, if you type how to say it, it'll. There's a recording somewhere. Someone will say it. There you go.
It's bad.
That's the Google tip.
It's bad.
Hey, and I was thinking, I'm just going to say this so that I don't forget, but it's October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think that you should do some version of this in our
I was thinking the same thing in the regular group.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
People need to know that they need to get different stuff under their armpits, and it works. Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so my part. So we always cover something, a product, information about a product, and then also something about the business, about some kind of just business training. And so that's my job, is to talk about some business oriented things. So what I'm going to talk about, like I said, sorry, I'm looking at my hair. It's like,
don't look at it. Just don't look.
It's a little crazy. That's okay. I took the kids to the gym, and then it was like, you know what? We're just doing a video. I don't care. So I was at the gym working out while the kids were playing, and here we are. Anyhow, I just won't look at myself. So what we're going to talk about tonight, business-wise, is the awkward moment when you're jumping in with doTERRA and you're trying to figure out how to tell the people that you care about that you're getting started with doTERRA, because it feels like an awkward thing to be like, hey, so I'm starting to do this thing with doTERRA, and what do you do? Like, how do you make that transition? And so that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. So two resources that I just want to point out to you. The first one is your launch guide. And so you probably have a launch guide somewhere in your stuff. But it looks like this. And so this is your launch guide. And so this is the thing, like, you want to be like working out of this launch guide as you are starting your business, because it tells you everything that you need to do, and gives you like a process to go through as you're preparing. And so it talks about all sorts of things, pipes, which is how we kind of work, how to prepare and teach a class. It talks about just setting some goals. It talks about scheduling, and like how many people you need to, how to reach out to people effectively. But the thing I'm going to talk about is this. And it's pages 8 and 9 in the launch guide. And so if you don't have a hard copy of this, you can go to, actually, if you just type in doTERRA launch guide, you'll find a link to it. So, and there's a whole PDF. It's for free online. If you want a physical copy, you can order it, or I probably have one laying around. Mom probably has one laying around too. So anyway, so did someone say something? I don't know if anyone said something. No. Okay. So page 8 and 9 talks specifically about connecting, sharing, and inviting. And the thing that I like about this is that it talks about how this is a relationship business. It is all about, I mean, the thing that drew me to this business was the focus on relationships, the sitting with people, helping them to make natural shifts in their life, and that happens in the context of relationship. We are not interested in just hustling people bottles of oil. Like, we want to come alongside people and help them shift their health, and that requires relationship. And so this talks a lot about that. And that, I think, is one of the most important things as you're starting, is to remember what drew you to this. What was your intention? I mean, even if your intention was to, supplement your income as like a reason, you could have chosen anything to go and supplement your income. Like, why did you choose doTERRA? I would imagine it has to do with a powerful experience with some of the oils or the products, and the desire to serve. doTERRA just attracts people who want to serve and want to connect and see people improve their situation. And so just that's important. And it's really important to keep that in the back of your mind, and remember your heart's intention as you move forward in all of this, because there are going to be moments where you are like, oh, I always hear somebody say, I don't want to be salesy. I thought, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be salesy. And what I would encourage you to remember is that you are coming at this with a heart of service. And so, yes, we sell essential oils. Like, first of all, just start saying that out loud. I sell doTERRA. I sell essential oils, because we do. But we are doing something that provides a service to people, and people need what we have. I heard there was a speaker at the one leadership retreat, I think it was last year, and she stood on the stage and she told like a couple stories about how she had just helped people who were really hopeless in certain health situations. And she stood there and she was like, and so, you know what? I'm here to tell you, I'm a hope dealer. And that's exactly how I feel. Like, I've sat with too many people who felt hopeless about medical conditions or emotional issues or trouble with their kids or something, who felt hopeless, and was able to give them hope. And so we are hope dealers, yo. And so keep that in your mind when you are starting to reach out to people, because that mindset is important. Hi, Jess. I see your face. That's Jess. So keep that in your mind. Keep that intention in your mind when you have moments where you're kind of feeling nervous or scared or anything like that. So in the launch guide specifically, it talks about 2 different groups of people. And so I am talking specifically about the people that you already know. And so a couple things that I would always encourage you to do is make sure that you are not that guy. We've probably all had it happen to us where like somebody pops up like out of nowhere in our life. You haven't talked to them forever, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, how are you? I sell nail polish now. Do you want some? And like, nobody likes that. Like, the only reason you're reaching out to them is because of that. And so I really try to make sure that I am investing in all my relationships all the time at every level. And then when it makes sense for me to reach out to them about oils, then I do. If you are just getting started, then I think that this is a perfect time for you to start with the people who are in your immediate sphere of influence, who are kind of in your life all the time, and then kind of go from there. And so the launch guide has a couple scripts. And so if you are not familiar with scripts, you're going to want to be, because what I love about scripts is that it's someone else's words that they have used time after time after time, and they're successful. And when you are starting to reach out to people and tell them that you're doing doTERRA and invite them to come and learn, either come to a class or ask them if they'll host a class or set up or do a one-on-one with you, you're scared, like you're nervous. And so the last thing you need to do is think of what to say. And so don't think of what to say. Read the paper, like read it. And if you want to, if it makes you feel better, then you write it down in your own words, but you don't change it too much, because these work. This is proven stuff. And that's the thing that's super helpful, about the systems that we have in place. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. I have reinvented the wheel enough times. My mom has reinvented the wheel enough times to know that it's dumb. Don't do it. Don't reinvent the wheel until you really kind of get rolling, and you start, and then that frees you up to be more creative once you get the basics down. But these are the basics, and don't just read the paper. So you don't have to create some, like, this is what I'm going to say. So for example, this says, the first step is obviously to connect with people authentically and sincerely. Ask about their family, ask about, if it's someone you haven't talked to in a while, like, it may be 2 or 3 conversations before you get to talk to them about doTERRA. It may be a couple text message sessions. And so do the things like on page 9 or page 8, it talks about just checking in about family, checking in about things, or just if it's someone you haven't talked to for a while, you say, hey, catch me up. I mean, it's been a while. What's going on in your life? And so we do that, and we catch up. Or, I heard through the grapevine that, something's going on, or that your kid started kindergarten, whatever it is. Connect. That is important. And then there's a lot of different scripts here that are awesome for the for various situations. And so I'm not going to read each one, but like I said, find the script that works for you and use the script. That's super important. Same thing on page 9. There's other scripts there that talk about specifically inviting people to a class. And that's my other recommendation, is that when you are reaching out to people, have a specific goal in mind for that person. And so if you want to invite them to come to a class, schedule a class. And so even if that's a class at your house or a class that your neighbor is hosting, that they're cool with you inviting a couple other people, make sure you have something that you're inviting them to. And so that gives them that, then you have an ask, a reason to say something. And so that's what all of these different things say. And so this one, for example, says, after you kind of check in and do the like relationship thing, you can say, hey, this is what the script says. I'm straight up reading it. I've been learning about essential oils. They're making a huge difference for me and my family. We use them for everything: sleep, energy, immune boosting, non-toxic cleaning, you name it. And I know at your house you are struggling with blank, or you have struggled with blank. And I totally thought of you. So I'm teaching a short health workshop, and I'd love for you to be my guest. It's at my house Thursday at 7. We can meet together, or we can meet together one-on-one next week. What works best for you? And so a couple things that I will just say is that you need to, one, make it a personal thing. If you're going to text people, that's great, but do not just copy and paste. First, definitely don't ever do a group text message. Nobody likes a group text message. But make sure that you're personalizing it. That as you're inviting people to learn, that you're saying like, hey, I'm starting this thing. I thought of you because I know that you get sick every winter. We're coming into winter. Or I know that your son won't sleep, and whatever. I think I think I might have something that can help you. Would you be open to that? And so the other thing that you need to do is give them an opportunity to respond, to ask a question, like something like, is that something that you would be interested in? Can I invite you to this class? Would you be willing to come, or would you be able to come? I'd love to meet up with you one-on-one. Can we do that sometime? When can we schedule it in? And so that is super helpful. And so the scripts are key. Find a script. If you need to tweak it, do it, write it out. And literally when I go through, if I'm calling, I'll try and batch these things. It's the other thing that I highly recommend you doing, is that you do either a text blitz where you're just spending like 30 minutes and you're just going to text as many people as you can, inviting them to come and learn, inviting them to either come to a class or ask them if they'll do a one-on-one, or maybe you're asking people to host, but take 30 minutes and go through your phone, and as many people as you can text, just do it. Don't think about it. Don't be like, oh, well, they might not be interested, or they will be interested, or they're kind of crunchy, so I should probably ask them, or they don't care about it, so I shouldn't ask them. They don't have any money. Get out of all that stuff and just go through your phone as fast as you can. That's called a text blitz. And just get as much out there as you can. And then you put your phone down and you walk away. And you don't worry about it. You don't get caught in your head. You don't listen to the voices. You just do that, get into some action of getting that out there. And so there's some great scripts for that as well. So be clear of what you're inviting them to do, class, a one-on-one, whatever it is. Let them know like what they're going to get out of it. And that is that, first of all, they're just going to learn about some natural options. So I almost always tell that to people, like, we've had great success with all these natural things. I'd love to be able to kind of show you what's possible. Does that sound like something you're interested in doing? And then always give them something that you're inviting them to. And I try to give them two options. So I might say like, so great. So I'm teaching a class next Tuesday at 7:00. Or I'd be happy to just like meet up with you for coffee, or we can even I do a lot of Zooms like this. We can do like a one-on-one conversation. I do that all the time. Which one works better for you? And let them choose. We give them an option. And that is great. And the other thing is too, like I said, sometimes it takes people multiple touches. It might take multiple touches before it feels appropriate to ask them to come to a class or to ask them to do a one-on-one, or whatever. And that's okay. And so that just pay attention to that and continue to track with people. If someone, I get to the point where I'm like, you know what? If you're not going to tell me no, I'm going to keep coming back until you tell me no. Like there's a book out there that I read, I don't know, a year or two ago that's called Go for No. And that is basically where, I'm not pushy. I am very respectful. I am very service-minded. I'm asking questions, but people need to tell me no. And so just go for no. The more no's that you get, the more yeses you are going to get. And that's what I would encourage you to do too. Just from like a mindset perspective, it's really easy. If you only reach out to 2 people about essential oils or about wanting to, see if they'll do a one-on-one, if you can meet with them. If you only reach out to 2 people and they both say no, then you're going to feel like, wah, wah. But if in the context of like the numbers are on your side, they will work out. The more people you reach out to, if you reach out to 10 people, all 10 are not going to say no. Or if they do, then you're in for a good day the next time you do it, because they're all going to say yes. Percentage wise, we usually say it's about a 50-50 shot of whether people say yes the first time. And so you just have to, it's a numbers game. And so that's why we always say go for the no, because the more no's you collect, the more yeses you're going to get to. And so just do that. And I know that it's the hardest part is in your head, the mental game of going like, oh, I don't know, what are they going to think or whatever. Just own it, move forward, and use a script, because that takes at least that piece out of it. The other thing is that right there, what I'm talking about, with why we use a script, it's the same reason that we tell you to make a names list from the beginning, because we just want to knock down as many barriers for you. My mom knows this. I know this. It is a head game sometimes. This is not difficult work. It is, but it's difficult it's hard in the sense that we need to work, like the little things pop up for us. Like our head kind of gets in the way sometimes. But it's simple work. The hard part is the stuff that's happening up here. And so that's why we ask you to do a names list, so that when you sit down to come up with who you're going to even reach out to, it's not a struggle to think of like, oh, I don't know anybody. Yes, you do. You have 100 names on that list. Or, oh, I don't know what I'm going to say. Yes, you do. You have scripts. Like, just do that. We're just knocking down those things. And so that is just trying to get as many barriers out of the way as possible. What else did I want to say? The other thing that I wanted to encourage you to do is that we have another training manual that you have access to. So we have this whole training program called the Emerge Light Training. And I would encourage you to work through that with your mentor. And so if I'm your mentor, great, let's work through that. If my mom is your mentor, awesome. Then work through that with my mom. I mean, I guess you could work through it with your mom, but I know my mom does doTERRA, so your mom might not. Anyhow, but so in that there are videos and there are other scripts too. And so the other thing that's really helpful about working through the Emerge Light training with your mentor is that you get to practice. And so I usually set up times where as we are going through a certain aspect of the training, like we'll kind of role play, because that's another piece of it. There's almost this weird thing where it's like your mind needs to hear your own self saying these things, saying these scripts, saying, asking the question to have a class. And so that is something that I'm scrolling through here. I just scrolled too far and lost my script. But we talk a lot about how one thing that you can do, especially if you're in your first couple weeks of getting started with doTERRA, and we've got a number of people who fall into this category, we would encourage you to leverage some goodwill and the people who love you. And so this is where it is really helpful that for you to reach out to the people that love you and would be willing to host a class for you, and just say, hey, I'm starting this new thing, and while I'm learning how to do it, would you be willing to host a class? It would just mean gathering up a few people, and you can tell them a little bit about doTERRA, or just see if they'd be willing to do that for you. And so that's always my first encouragement as you're getting started. Whoever it is that loves you, whether it's your sister or your mom or your best friend or your dear Aunt Susie, whoever it is, call up the people that love you and start with them, because they're going to have grace. You're going to be more confident with them. And so start there. And that is, I would encourage you to start there with hosting classes. But the other thing is just see if you can start to reach out to people and set up one-on-ones. And we're going to be doing a specific training on how to do a one-on-one in the first 2 weeks of November. So you can keep an eye out for that, because if you're thinking like, how do I even pull off a one-on-one? What do we even talk about? That is something that I am starting to do a lot more of. And so I'm really feeling pretty confident and kind of, getting that down. And I want to be able to share that with you, what I found to be effective. But same thing. You can send text messages to the people that love you and say, hey, dear Aunt Susie. So I don't know if you heard, but I'm super excited that I'm getting started teaching classes and sharing about essential oils, because we've had great success with them. But while I'm learning about what the heck I'm doing, I would love if you would be willing to kind of be my test case and sit down with me and let me do a one-on-one with you and practice. Would you be willing to do that? And then start there. Like, start with people who love you. Don't start with the people that you think will be the most essential oil type people. Start with the people that love you. Share the things that have been successful for you, and leverage the fact that they love you and their willingness to want to help you. So that is my biggest things. Use the scripts. Like I said, page 8 and 9 in the launch guide. And then I will link to it's called the Essential Training Manual. We have it in Google Drive, and there are videos, and there's a whole really long workbook that's super helpful. And so I would encourage you to just start to get good at that, start to work through asking people for one-on-ones, get a class on the books that you can invite people to, and say, so as you're reaching out to them, say, hey, I'm teaching this class, would you come? I'm trying to learn, so, I might be crappy at it, but you love me, and so that's why you should come. And so start with that. Anyhow, Mom, do you have anything to offer?
The only other thing I was going to say is that something I think is really helpful from the very beginning, you cannot be attached to outcomes. And that's hard for a lot of us, but if you just know that it's a numbers game. And so if every person that you get an answer from, whether it's yes or whether it's no, just moves you that farther down the road to getting what you're hoping for. So rather than every time somebody gives you a no, just taking it like they stabbed you in the heart, just you kind of okay, great, good, I got that one done. All right, good. I asked the person who was the hard person. And so just not being attached to the outcome, I think, is really, really important. And then just stepping outside of your comfort zone. I think, like Sarah mentioned, when you're doing that, on my was done, it was exhilarating because I did it. Like I
Say that again.
to do a 30-minute. Huh? I froze up.
You had something awesome there, and we didn't get it because you froze.
Oh, well, I don't know where I got cut off. What I was saying was that if you push through, like if you have something that you're terrified of, the other end of did a launch. It used to be that these to have launches, and now so we've got a lot of different things to offer you. Like doTERRA actually has a launch as well that syncs right in with that launch video on their website. We're going to look at that and see if that's something we want to talk about. But we have this other one, the Emerge Light training that Sarah and I talked about. But if you set yourself up to when you're going to do one of these activities to just do it, even if it's outside your comfort zone, knowing it's a short-term thing. And I promise you won't die. Like I haven't died at any point, even though I thought I was going to. So
we've been afraid a lot.
Yeah.
And here we are. Not dead.
A lot. We're not dead, but that's, and we can laugh about that later. That's kind of one of the nice things about doing this in a group of people is that you're not going to have anything happen to you that hasn't happened to somebody else already. And it's something you can laugh about later when you look back and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I even said that. Like Kim will later on could be back and go like, do you believe I taught my first class and I'd never even seen the whole class sheet and I just winged it? Like, you know what I mean? Like you'll be like, how did I even do that? Right. But but you did it. And so like, those are like these great accomplishments that happen in just little small increments along the way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But so when you feel that fear, just tell yourself you're going to push through it. Like it's a choice to push through it rather than to just kind of back away from the fear. So, and I've learned that through experience. And like Sarah said, I still get afraid. I get afraid all the time. And so does Sarah. So
we've gotten better at going, I see you, fear. Not today. So,
all right. So I'll just wait and stick some of the deodorant stuff in the group tomorrow. I'm not going to stick anything in this since I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'll put stuff in that.
All right. Does anybody have? I'm gonna stop the recording here too, just because then if anybody has any questions, Jess or Kim, then feel free to ask them. But I'm gonna stop the recording so that it's like a reasonably length video for other people who want to watch it. And you don't get if you don't know that if you're watching the recording, you don't get the questions unless you hop on live. So join us live next time. Okay, I'm gonna stop.